Back, Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call right here, Pittsburgh CW. Bordas and Bordas Hotline. You see the number right there. It's 412-575-2600. Bob Pompeani, Paul Zeise. A couple of tweets before we go to the lines. Ron Matthews says it was very telling. The Pirates did not sell 10,000 tickets for any of the 4 games against Arizona. And Dennis Stillwagoner says it's hard to have faith in the Pirates when ownership continues to do the same thing. At least ticket prices will be cheap. Well, that Arizona series, I was over there for 2 of those games, and I realize it's April baseball. Right. I realize, the weather was, rainy the one day, but still, they announced 7,000. It was hard to count.
I think the worst thing that could possibly have happened to them has happened, and that is, they had a little momentum. People were starting to talk about them a little bit. You figure if they go on this road trip and do well, maybe there's some momentum for ticket sales. I mean, they are. They're basically off the radar again, and they're coming home this weekend, aren't they?
Yeah, I got the Oakland A's an off day Thursday, but swept at home by Arizona, swept by the LA Dodgers, games they could have won, and now they're leaving runners on base at a remarkable rate. All right, let's go to the lines. We have Clint in Altoona, not Clint who is in Texas right now. That would be the manager. This is Clint in Altoona. Go ahead, Clint.
Yeah, hey, thanks for taking my call. I congratulate Paul and his good luck for him in the future.
Sure.
But yeah, that's it. First, before I comment on the Pirates, if you saw the Columbus game, I guess Marchand had another cheap shot hit on somebody.
Yes, he did. He took a shot when no one was looking, except the camera never blinks. So the NHL should do something to him.
Yeah, if he's out, I mean, he's one of the best players in the league, so I don't know. But anyhow, Pirates, you could have started the show saying, they probably have problems with their defense, which they have, Josh Bell and everything, and no hitting. Number one, I'd like to know why they couldn't address all that stuff, knowing going in that that's what their problem was. And number two, watching the game, the Dodger game there, they're just fundamentally bad situations. The one guy tagged up from first to second on it seemed like a routine fly ball to center, and Ryan Reynolds out there, whatever his name is, they didn't throw the ball back in. It was nonchalant. The guy went to second, and then Monkey Cabrera tried to throw a guy out to plate. He had no chance. Yet the runner at first moved up to second in scoring positions. That's fundamental plays.
Well, they lack those. And without Marte in the outfield, you could tell what kind of circus it was there. Thanks, Clint. That was my signal for you to talk.
I
don't want to answer them all first.
No, that's okay. I mean, again, fundamentals. It has been a bad thing with this team. It's amazing too. It's been like 5 or 6, even when they were good. Base running has been a problem. They just and now base running and defense. The last 3 years, defense has been a problem. But if you don't have good defensive players, how are you supposed to be good? And the thing about it is, with a pitching staff that relies on the defense, it's not a good formula. So you gotta just hope that some of these areas they get better. But I don't see how they do because they have the same players.
Jim in the South Hills, you're on right now. Pittsburgh CW. Go ahead, Jim.
Thanks, Bob. Paul, congratulations. You must be a proud papa. God bless you.
Well, thank you.
Anyway, my question is kind of like the last caller. Fundamentals stink, and they have for years for the Pirates, less than most teams, the fundamentals. And my question is really, does Major League Baseball limit the amount of money that a franchise can spend on coaches and minor league, development?
No.
I don't think they do that. I think there should be some sort of structure about salary, though. There has to be. This whole system where they have anybody can spend whatever they want, and you can spend as little as you want. That's not right. Rob Manfred should be ashamed of this, not just here, but in other places. The system is a bad one. You can tell me how healthy baseball is all the time. You look around, there's nobody in any seats. Fine. It's not healthy because the same old teams are going to be there at the end. I'm sorry. You can tell me about the Oakland A's are going to put a little stretch together. What have they ever
in
won?
First place? Aren't the Rays?
Yeah, okay, fine. Guess what will happen in time? They'll trade players because they can't keep things there, and that place is a dump.
Yankees. The Yankees will pass them up. They will, and win that division. No, I think the biggest thing, Bob, they do have a luxury tax in place that does hold some of the spending down a little bit. But
what does that do? The money goes to other teams. You don't know where it goes. But it should go specifically to the payroll.
Right.
If it doesn't go there,
then what I'm saying is, it's not like you can go out and have a $500 million payroll. That's just not realistic.
Well,
now,
they strand 2 more.
Is that an out?
Yep,
they're out of the inning, and what is that? 7 or 8
8
left on base.
Yep. I don't know. Same old, same old. Let's go out. Thanks for the call. I want to go to Dave in Belle Vernon. What's up, Dave? How are you?
Good to talk to two NBA guys.
Thank you, Dave. We appreciate it.
Now, here's my question. I agree with what you guys were. You guys kind of stole my thunder on Harden and them. But here's the point I'm trying to ask. Do these referees, don't you think they hold grudges against certain guys? Because I was just seeing on TNT where Barkley and them were saying Harden and them gets fouled out 4 times. Just 4 out of the 6 times you play against.
With Foster, the referee who's in this game tonight, yes.
Yes. Well,
I do think that can be a problem. Well, I'm surprised they would assign him to this game because he hasn't been assigned to a Rockets game in a very long time, Paul. So I don't know what kind of message the NBA is sending, but the Rockets went out of their way to complain a lot about what went on, and I think the NBA is saying, don't do it. Stop.
That, and again, I think one of the things is the evaluators probably watched the film of this guy reffing those games and determined that he wasn't holding a grudge or anything, that, you know what I mean? He wasn't doing anything that was undermining. I mean, you look at the stats and you say, well, you know, he calls more against this team than that team, but I'm going to tell you, you know, sometimes it's just the way it is, and they evaluate each of these guys after every game. They have film of every game. You know what I mean? If he was doing something that was so easy to see that it was so biased, he would not be on this game tonight.
No, I agree. But I also think that these guys have just got to play. It's tired of, you know, you can, and I thought ESPN did a wonderful job last night highlighting when James Harden shoots uncontested shots. He goes straight up and straight down. There's no leg kicking action whatsoever. When there is someone in his face, he will jump up, lunge forward, and create contact. He expects that call. Now, having said that, he, more than any other player in the game, went to the foul line this year. He also was fouled 95 times on three-point attempts. That's 61 more times than anyone else in basketball. So if he's fouled 95 times on three-pointers, he's getting calls. The problem is he expects them to continue, and they're not.
And he expects every time he kicks his legs out like that it's going to be a call. I hate that call. I really do. There's a lot of calls like that you see all throughout basketball that I wish they would get rid of.
Yeah.
You know, if you go up, if a guy fouls you with his, you know, trying to block your shot, or he gets into your body or something, okay, fine. But if you kick your legs out, or if you do that thing where you like pump fake and then jump into a guy, that shouldn't be a foul. I'm sorry, this shouldn't be.
Not at all. Just if that's the way you want to play it, then go ahead. You'll probably miss the shot then. Let's go to line 1. That's Pete in Squirrel Hill. Hey, Pete.
Hey, guys, how are you tonight?
Good. What's up?
Hey, Bob, real quick on everything. In the Major League pay structure, where does the Tampa Bay Rays stand in their payroll? I'm just curious.
I'd have to check.
Tremendous start.
John Kimball, our producer tonight, if you have a chance up there, if you can check it out, I can't believe they're going to be anywhere. They're going to be near the Pirates somewhere. You know, I don't know.
I was just wondering because it seems like they're another organization that has a great ability to identify talent, draft, and develop it.
They do. And one of the thanks, Pete. One of the problems the Pirates have is when was the last time they really drafted and developed a power hitter? Now, Marte and Polanco are supposed to be the centerpieces of this team, but they've had their flaws, and they haven't been what you'd expect them to be. Bell, too, is another guy. But he's not a first baseman really by trade, Paul. And what we've seen is this hesitant throwing motion.
Yeah.
And it's worrisome because if you watch enough of Pedro or anyone else who plays and doesn't want to throw, what are you going to do? At some point, you know, he has to get better at that. His bat has come to life.
Yeah.
They need that, but they need Polanco and Marte to carry this franchise. And if they don't, who have they developed in the last 5 to 7 years?
And they haven't done a good job of that at all. I mean, I think the difference between the Rays and the Pirates is the Rays have done a good job of developing hitters and players, and I don't know that the Pirates have. Now, I think the Pirates have been pretty good at developing pitchers.
Yeah, very good. Or at least better than hitters.
Right, but hitters they haven't. And if you remember 3 or 4 years ago, Bob, you know, they tried to convince the world that they weren't, you know, really all that interested in power, that they were going to win with high on-base percentage and all that other stuff. Well, they figured out pretty quickly that the game has changed so much, it's hard to win that way. You've got to have guys that hit the ball out of the park.
You do. We got to take a break. We'll do it and come back with more right here. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call 7 nights a week on Pittsburgh CW.